Today, I want to talk about the number one thing that has helped me in business. And when I look at professionals and business owners that are at that next level, some that are doing almost 100 million per year in revenue, they have this quality. And everyone has it, everyone can have it or develop it, listening. Listen to the people you work with and then also ask questions. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that. But I'll give you a tip on listening or a story on listening. Earlier this week, today is July 23rd when we are shooting this video. Earlier this week, my wife and I met with our attorney, Elizabeth, to go over personal planning, estate planning, business planning. We're just buttoning everything up, getting it set up because it's been on my mind for a while. Now, Elizabeth, we have a podcast with her, so you might know who I'm talking about. It's on our YouTube channel. But she is one of the sharpest people I've ever met. From a business perspective, she knows her stuff. From just a general knowledge standpoint, some of the things she'll talk about, like fun facts, I'm like, how do you know all this stuff and remember it all? But she's a sincere person as well. And in talking to her, she's at that level where she works with people with tons of money, hundreds of millions of dollars, but she's listening to our concerns. Everyone we've referred to her, she listens to their concerns. Doesn't matter how much money they have, and she makes sure that a plan is set up to benefit their concerns, or I should say to address their concerns, to benefit them, take care of their goals. She listens. She even took the time to explain to my wife and I the basics of what a trustee is, what an executor is, why that's important, what we should do. My wife and I were having a hard time setting some things up. She gave us some recommendations as far as here's what some of my other clients do in a similar position to you. Here's what I do personally. She's listening to what our struggles were, and she's helping us overcome that. So, as I explain that, what are your thoughts? Okay, that person seems really nice, really good at what they do. If you haven't seen the podcast or any of her podcasts, I'd recommend watch them. You'll know in 2 seconds what I'm talking about. But she's very good. When I was early in my career, I remember meeting with someone. It was my first big sale at the time. I was so fanatic about it. But she worked with me, a back office nerd who liked the numbers. I could design policies, but I couldn't really speak that well. I would stutter all the time. My palms would sweat when I'm on the phone. But an older woman had decided to work with me and open up a large policy. And I still remember to this day what she said. She said, Steve, the reason I'm working with you and not a competitor who's much older and more experienced than you are is because you listen. I wasn't even aware of it. In my mind, I'm like, okay, I'm listening, and here's what you want it to accomplish. So I'm going to make sure I set up everything properly that accomplishes what you'd like. One last example on listening from a marketing perspective. As we have grown our business from the cash value life insurance sales side, what we primarily offer and set up for people are policies designed for maximum cash value, which has to do often with a 10-90 split. 10% premium, 90% of our payment going toward cash value. That's as aggressive as we can go with a lot of the top companies. Now, where did we come up with that? Well, in working with people and having, I don't know how many thousands of sales meetings, one after another, just over the years when I was on my own, the number one thing expressed that still sticks with me, and we hear it all the time, is, hey, why are the policies you show me so much richer in cash value than what I have seen out there from other agents and other marketing content, whatever? Like, why can you produce so much more money? And I was just designing the policy for maximum consumer value and minimum commission. But in hearing that over and over and over again from so many different people, I'm like, this is the objection. Like, so many times people would come to me about infinite banking. They wanted to understand the concept. But typically I'd ask, hey, from your research, going on asking questions, from your research thus far, you've got the banking concept, and then you've got whole life insurance. Do you have questions on the banking concept and how that works, or more so around the whole life insurance product? And 99 out of 100 times I would hear, I understand the concept. I see that my money's always compounding for me. I can really become my own bank, take control of my personal finances, I get that and I'm attracted to it. What I don't understand, Steve, is the whole life insurance piece. So from a sales perspective then, I know that I don't need to go into all the details around infinite banking because they've done their research, they get that. Their point of interest is the whole life insurance product. Go through that in detail with them. And that's exactly what I did. And then quickly discovered always the key objection that always popped up was, how do I get more money in cash value? Short-term and long-term. Like that's what I want because it's an opportunity cost for me today. If I lose money, give it to me up front so I can then use it for my business to pay off debt, real estate, whatever. So we started marketing that, heard what the common concern was and started marketing that, showing it to the masses of exactly how to set those policies up, what companies typically deliver the strongest cash values. Like that's all we did, really, as I look back at it, because that was the major concern. Like that's what people are interested in. And it's about the consumer, the client, not you, the agent, what you want to sell. So listening and asking questions. Here's what I want to touch on. When it comes to listening, what are the person's goals? What are their concerns? Have they done research already? And you really figure out all of those by asking questions, but listen to what they have to say. If someone tells you or tells me, I get the banking concept, or I get the fact that I can use this policy for retirement income, or I can use it to generate perpetual wealth. I can set it up in a trust, have the family office structure, use a high cash value life insurance policy to accomplish it. But I really want to understand how to get the best value on my money. Don't just sell me on the concept. You better set the policy up properly, Steve. Like the details, the mechanics were important, or just knowing that it was optimized. So I've got to ask questions or they'll outright express it sometimes. But if you don't listen and just go into some big presentation, that's where we lose business and you're not their go-to person. Asking questions. Here's something that I'm very, very big on. Not closing questions, especially early on. We're not asking questions to try and close the sale or here's the tactic I use to get them across the finish line. No, these are questions getting to know them. If I go back to the attorney I mentioned, Elizabeth, when she has interview meetings with her clients, that's the first thing they do. It is simply getting to know each other. That's it. You get to know her, she gets to know you, and that is a beautiful process. How she does it from a time perspective, she's growing. I think she is growing again. She mentioned that to me. They're bringing on more lawyers, but she's got that personality where everyone wants to connect with her. I do all the time. I know everyone does. Like, how do you do it? Going a mile a minute all day long, every single day. But the interviewing, she's not closing at all. She's educating. She's asking questions, getting to know you personally, business, finance, everything. Really, I feel like you're making a friend when you're talking to her. We try and do the exact same thing. And then also informational questions. Something I learned here in working with business coaches, we worked with Grant Cardone's office, who, by the way, his style is polar opposite of mine. If you look at his marketing compared to how we educate, polar opposite. I reached out to him because I reached out to someone else first, and they didn't get back to me. It was at a point where I was desperate. I needed help from a business perspective, trying to learn everything, got in touch with him, and there's a lot of gems we've taken away from working with that group. But I did speak with Grant, I started with personal coaching with him, but primarily now work with Steve Spray at the office. And one of the things he does, he is a phenomenal service person, salesperson, he's very good. But when I talk to him, he's in sales, but I never get the sense that he's trying to push sales on me. He talks, he listens, and information questions. One of the best lines I've learned from him was when someone calls in the office or someone wants a meeting, he starts with, what can I get you information on? That's it. He's not going to start going into the presentation about the product they inquired about. No, what can I get you information on? What questions do they have? Listen to the questions and directly address those questions. For example, if you have questions about high cash value life insurance, but you found us because you were interested in the idea of infinite banking or using it as a retirement vehicle, whatever it might be, And I just start talking about infinite banking or the retirement aspect when you're like, hey, I get that, Steve. Don't talk about that. I'm interested in the cash value life insurance piece. If I don't listen to you, you're going to get fed up with me and go work with someone else. Maybe, hopefully not. But the point is, you have to listen to the person you're working with. I know I've said the word listen here a million times. It's something that is, I'm deeply passionate about to use that word. You've got to listen to those you work with. If you do that, you will just continue to move forward in your business. Always do the right thing, and you can sleep at night. If you listen to others and set everything up how they wanted, you really eliminate the chance of someone coming back and saying, hey, why did we do this again? Like, this, I don't think is what I wanted. Now you got to resell it. You've got that awkward situation where you get frustrated, they get frustrated, and that's never a good experience. They post a bad review or something like that. Like, nobody wants that stuff. We're in business because we're trying to do the right thing and help other people. Do that first and the money will come. You've heard that before, but it's true. Don't chase the money, chase the client and make things convenient for them, and the money will come. That will happen. But do everything properly. Here's the first thing, ask questions. I didn't put in here. Let's do this right now. Directly answer them. Don't play games and beat around the bush. If it's a tough question, directly answer them. Somebody wants to see the guaranteed values, small companies, directly answer them and show them the values. So I hope that you got some value out of this video. If you like it, please hit the like button, subscribe for more, and we'll talk to you soon. Hope this helps. Hey guys, Steve Parisi here. If you enjoyed the content you just saw, please subscribe, like, and hit the notification bell for future videos. If you'd like more information or to see some custom policies for yourself, feel free to call or email our offices at the contact information below.